Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so it's so much Lakers stuff to talk about, man. First of all, happy birthday. LeBron James turned 38 today. Welcome to the club. I made 38 back in August, so I know how it feels. He's talking about he wants to play till he's 45. I can dig it. I can dig it because I'm physically in better shape than I was when I was in my 20s. So, I can kind of get where if I was a supreme athlete, um, you know what I mean? Like him, I would feel good enough mentally that I could do it, and I'd also feel like I'm still getting better because there's things that I'm learning in my life personally, and I know for a fact I'm improving on. So the ability to learn from here uh, is very much a real thing. So yeah, there's reason to play. There's a lot of money to make too. Let's not fool ourselves. If LeBron James plays another 7 years, he's gonna make a whole lot of cash in the NBA on top of endorsements and things of that nature. So of course he can continue to build his empire and further his dreams. So, uh, yeah, if a guy can play that long at the level that he's playing at, he should want to. I don't know if it's wise to project forward, saying that he's going to. I think that doing so puts you in a position to look as if you're trying to create some type of guarantee for the organization in order to provide yourself some leverage or some backing in regards to your future. That's what it sounds like. He's trying to let teams know that if you trade for me, there's a good chance I'd be willing to sign for a long term with you. Um, or to the Lakers, if you invest in this team, there's a good chance that if I'm happy with what I see, I could be signed, and you could have me for years and years to come. If you're trying to figure out what the heck you're gonna do for the next several years of for your team. So that's what I'm looking at. LeBron James is making his availability for the long term something that teams can dream about having him a part of, which is a smart thing from my perspective in regards to him. But I don't know if he can guarantee it. That's why I don't know if it's the best thing to do. Can you guarantee you're gonna stay that healthy? You're gonna be, it's like if you're trying to say that you're gonna compare yourself to the availability and the longevity, not longevity, but essentially he's saying I'm a superstar. I'm gonna be in the league for the next 7 years as a superstar. All right. Well, you got to play at a certain level, just like the rest of the superstars, the young ones too. You're gonna be compared to those guys. So he's playing at a top five level right now. If he were on a great team, they would be champion level team. So I don't doubt that he can proclaim that now. But given the fact that we've seen what we've seen over the last 5 years, if I'm an organization that doesn't have all my ducks in a row, I wouldn't be certain that I want to build around LeBron James. Not as a Laker fan who's been dealing with this for the last 5 years. No, 4 out of 5 years we've dealt with injuries, lots of them, injuries that kept us completely out of the playoffs. So if you don't have a deep team around LeBron James, don't waste your time. And that's the thing. It's like Bron needs a deep team and AD needs a deep team, and both of them want to play together. It doesn't work. That right there doesn't work. It stopped working right after we won the championship. I just know better at this point. So I listened to Jason Timpf, a little bit of what he was saying. He's suggesting that the Lakers trade AD. I agree. He said to the Suns for Ayton, Crowder, and 3 picks. And Crowder, I could live without. Obviously, I want the 3 picks. Ayton's a player I think would be a good center to start with, trying to kind of mold your team. I'm not saying he's the equivalent to AD, but the 3 picks is supposed to make up for that. But then I look in the comment section and one of the Suns fans, and they said they didn't even want to give up 1 pick for AD, let alone 3, because of his injury issues. And that helped me understand how he's viewed by others, in regards to what our prospects are for trading him. Anthony Davis isn't a wanted player. And that's something that we need to understand. Everybody saw the same thing we saw 2 weeks ago. He went off for 50-something points for about 3 games and then disappeared forever again. And that's what people were more so paying attention to. As the same thing I was paying attention to when he was going off for 50-something points. I said we need to trade him now because his value's high. Everybody thinks this is going to be sustainable. And we all know here in Lakerland that it's not likely it is. And sure enough, the inevitable took place and we kept on pushing forward without him. And I just look at the regime in place and say, if they were assessing things properly, they would have traded him right then and there. If they had all their ducks in a row and they were moving like a proper unit, he would have been traded right then and there. I see that Rob Pelinka is holding everything that he has to the chest, and he's not trying to pull, any trades at this time. Much has been said about how the market's probably locked up for him, so it's probably not much he can get for what we have. But I still look at other things that the organization could still be doing, and I'm not satisfied. We talked about that at length in previous videos. But to carry forward, I'm just looking at certain things and I'm saying, the way that this team is constructed, even for being in a temporary space where you want to shift players out and trade players, it was a bad vision to begin with, because you shouldn't have put a combination of players that could not play well together in the first place. That should have been a no-go. So you had to find another way, because if you put players that can't play together on the floor, and the core piece of what's being rotated around is injury prone and likely to miss most of the time, then chances are you're not going to be able to make the value of the sum good enough to trade pieces from it in the event those pieces that everything's rotating around gets removed. And that's why if you're looking at the different plans that the Lakers had, and the plan that they looked at in the column that put together this should have been moved away from. They should have went with something else. Because once you start looking at some of these pieces and realizing, okay, this guy's injury prone, this guy's too young, this guy can't shoot, and you see the sum of the team cannot shoot, and then you're looking and seeing they're undersized as well, so you're basically going to be running small ball and can't shoot. And you look at the small ball players and only some of them are two-way, it's like none of this is going to be cohesive. You're leaning too much on Anthony Davis to do things defensively. You pick up Thomas Bryant and you misevaluate him as a rim protector. He's going to provide no defense. You look at Damian Jones, you misevaluate him as somebody who could do more than he can. He can't even get on the floor for us. You waive Huff. You don't have another big in place. And then you just got this dynamic where it's so reliant upon AD to do so much when it's so likely that he's not even going to be out there. So, what they're assessing, essentially how they put this together and the way it looked like they put this together, just takes away all faith that they are going to do something good from here. Even though you see them not making moves and saying that's probably a good thing, you realize the moves that they made has you thinking they're waiting for something bad, not necessarily something that's going to help us. And so that's really what we're worried about here. And we express it in every video. But at this point, it looks more and more likely that Genie is nowhere to, be found right now, and that the people who are in place are going to continue to protect themselves, regardless of what we're saying. And it's going to be on Genie, just like she did with Jim, to step in and say thank you, but I got it from here. And that's the only thing that's going to save the Lakers, in my opinion. It's her recognizing that all of this is something that needs to be changed. So, as I look at the different prospects of players that the Lakers are talking about picking up, the one player that I think is really interesting to me is a player we're seeing tonight, and that's Trae Young. And I'm not saying I love the prospect of building around Trae Young, because I don't. I actually do not love the prospect of building around Trae Young. But I think Trae Young, being a type of juggernaut and superstar killer type of player, he's a killer. He will be the next comparable piece to make us feel good about being able to destroy teams with him at the helm if we build around him properly. I don't doubt that he's built for the bright lights. I don't doubt that. The way he goes into New York and destroys them every time he goes there, he's obviously not lacking for confidence. He was Gigi's favorite player, so that resonates with Laker Nation off rip. Rest in peace to Gigi. And of course, given the fact that he's just overall someone who could drop 50 points and probably like 15 assists, I mean, his talent level and his modern day ability to draw an infinite amount of fouls, manipulating the refs in this modern day style, I just think, and the fact that he's 23, 22 years, maybe 24 years old, maybe, and pretty durable for a little dude. He has had some injuries, but nothing like you would think looking at his little size. I look at him as a leading guy. I look at him as the guy that's going to take the last shot. I look at him as somebody who needs a lot of coaching into being a good team player and a good point guard. But he's someone who can accumulate a lot of stats and a lot of everything, basically. It's like a little Iverson all over again, but more so potent in some ways. Um, a different type of attack, but the volume and the overall production is like he's one of those. So as I'm looking at him in the timeline, I look at his situation in Atlanta, and I'm thinking like the contracts the Lakers are trying to pick up, like Zach LaVine, Bradley Beal, and stuff like that. And I'm like, yo, none of that is it. But if I'm going to forego what I have right now and try to reset this entire timeline, I think Trae Young is a very good superstar um, to take a look at if you can acquire him. You know what I mean? It's a very good A1 superstar that you can say, okay, we got our little killer that's going to be in place that can demolish a team by himself. Now let's get the rest that we need. If you're doing that, you're going to be able to do some good things with somebody that talented. Very talented. Now he's on a superstar contract, but he's a superstar player. So I don't doubt that. And I don't look at him as somebody who needs to continue to elevate and prove to me that he can live up to his contract. Now he's one of them dudes. But you don't have his bird rights. And that's the problem for trading for him. Unless you do some spectacular trade. I don't know how that works. We can get a guy like that bird rights. I don't know if that even, I don't know. But the point is that you have him on that contract, and that's just what it is. And I don't know if I'd bring him to Anthony Davis. And for me, if I'm going forward with Trae Young, we're giving him a whole new team. It's rebuild time, starting with the first piece being our trade piece. And Trae Young, thank you for coming to the Lakers. You're going to be sitting here waiting to win. And I don't think he wants that. I don't think he's signing up for that. He's in a situation where they're winning over there. They've already built the team around him. They got something that's going. But if the situation's soured, I look at this place as a blank canvas that he should want for himself. Now, whether or not the organization is worth a damn and the people in place and all of that, but the hope here is that all of that will be gone. Like that Jeannie will fire everybody and leave her with nothing but herself, and then we go hire a Masai Ujiri or something like that to execute a trade like this. Because as you guys know, I don't want Rob Pelinka executing a trade like this. I don't, which leaves me in a space where I'm kind of confused about what it is I want the Lakers to do. Because one part of me thinks we need to trade AD now. Another part of me thinks we need to fire Rob Pelinka now and trade AD later. As to which Jeannie ain't about to do that. So it's just like, this is the problem with advising you guys on what I think the Lakers should do. It's not necessarily me anticipating what I think the Lakers are going to do. Both on the court and off the court, that is the same dynamic. It's like, okay, this is what we can do to win, but they're probably going to do this, so be prepared for that. This is the same thing. It's the exact same thing. But this is just the problem with being a Laker fan right now. We just have a bad front office, man. And I think the only way to really overcome that is to continue to do what I'm doing right now and just continue to bash him. Bash him, and hopefully Jeannie gets as many of these videos to understand what it is that we see, man. And it's not about Rob being the worst GM in the league or none of that. It's just about he's had 5 years to do this. And we look here in this 5th year, and we are as bad as we've ever been. And we got one of the best players ever on the team, too, in Anthony Davis. And so I don't care whose idea it was to build around Anthony Davis and LeBron James. I just want us to go forward without the fear of everything falling apart when an injury takes place, or the fear of if LeBron James decides he wants to go play for somebody else, we don't have nothing. Those different fears are so unnecessary when we're talking about sports. When you're talking about you have the Los Angeles Lakers, in place. And it's like, I get it. They don't want to lose stars. They don't maybe want to rebuild. They went through that process, as we've talked about, but I don't think that they are due to get worse for doing things the right way, which is what we preach on this channel. And that's what rebuilding and resetting your situation does. It simply does that for you. And I don't know if they can get the right return for Anthony Davis now that he's down. Maybe they're going to have to wait until the end of the season to get the best return for him. Hopefully we can get him to peak again at some point. But you got to look at it like this. If you send him out there again for the rest of the season, and he gets hurt again, that's going to hurt his trade value even more. You would do better, Los Angeles, to make sure that he's all world conditioned when we see him again. That would be wise. Don't send him out there half-massed. Don't send him out there 100%. Send him out there yoked up and ready to go. Because the problem what you have with Anthony Davis is his value. People are looking at him as an injury-prone player. That's not going to change if you send him back out there on a hobbled foot. It's not. They got to see him play sustainable basketball for a length of time. And if he's coming back half-massed, it's never going to happen. And see what happens if we get stuck with an Anthony Davis that starts to deteriorate is his value gets less and less the longer we hold him to him. The more and more injured he gets, the less and less people are willing to give us picks for him. So we don't have time if we're going to go forward in blowing this thing up to wait too long to do so. If I'm what I'm looking at is the right way of looking at things. Is every day Anthony Davis sits, his value gets less and less. His legend gets less and less. You know what I mean? People are just like street clothes. Street clothes. That's it. I don't care how much a dude can do for you. If he's not going to be able to do it enough times to make you good, trading things that make you good to get him makes no sense. And so this brings me to a space. Well, what if we can't get rid of Anthony Davis for a price that makes any sense? Do you trade him anyway for whatever you can get for him before he starts to deteriorate and go to nothing? Do you believe in him and start to retool around him without LeBron James? Do you move forward with LeBron James and go ahead and trade the 2 picks for the best thing you can get over the next 6 months? I don't like that plan because that means that's me telling you I believe in Anthony Davis and LeBron James going forward as a unit, and I don't. Absolutely not. So for me, it's trading them both. Because I don't want Anthony Davis no more than that Suns fan does. I don't think he's going to stay healthy longer than 30 games a season now. And I just want him off my team for the best possible return. I'm cold-blooded when it comes to this type of stuff, dude. Because I look at him as somebody who's super talented. But if he ain't going to be there, as we said, what's the point? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If he ain't going to be here, he ain't here. So what are we doing? Building a team that's supposed to sustain without him? How are we going to do that with LeBron James' salary on deck? It's just not possible. And why would you want to do that anyway? That's the point. Like, I don't know who would want Anthony Davis. I haven't thought about putting myself in somebody else's shoes as it pertains to acquiring this player. In fact, I haven't thought about putting myself in anybody's shoes as it pertains to acquiring any of our players. But I'll tell you this. If we can't get rid of anyone and Genie doesn't want to invest in this thing at all, they're not going to win anything. I hope people don't expect things to turn around if nothing is done. You just lose. You lose, and lose. You have a couple of 3-game winning streaks maybe here or there, but the majority of your games you're going to lose. That's what the season's going to look like for the rest of this year. So whatever they're trying to protect against, at this point, they got to recalibrate everything they're looking at. Because, look, I personally think, and I've said this all season long, all off season rather, I thought they were waiting for Kyrie Irving. Yeah, I thought they were waiting. I still think to a point that that's what the piece was that they wanted to give their 2 picks for. But things have shifted in such a way to where trading for Kyrie Irving is going to cost you more than 2 picks right now. He's playing too good, and I told you that was going to happen. I told people if we start the season and don't trade for him and they let him get out there and start doing what it is he does, he ain't getting. His value goes up. He's too talented. He's a god on the court, so it's not about whether or not he's going to eat people up. It's about whether or not they can count on him to be on the court. See what I'm saying? He's just like Anthony Davis. If he's out there, he's just, way great. And so right now what you have going on is Kyrie Irving is out there. So what I've told the Nets is to trade him. But of course nobody's listening to me over there. But they need to do what we didn't do with AD. And so I would knock on the door with the Nets and just remind them that Kyrie Irving is somebody they're going to have to pay at the end of the season. I would let them know. Because at this point, it's LeBron James' birthday. And if he plans on staying on his team, there's no other proven player that has been proven to win a championship with LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. There's nobody. Who else is left? Wade is gone. All the other guys are gone. K-Love, you want to go trade for K-Love? I mean, who else is proven to win with him besides AD, who's right here next to us? It's Kai. It's Kai. It's been Kai the whole time. And he's the one with the talent that's worth doing this. The problem is he's on an expiring contract too, and if Genie don't want to re-sign him, trading away 2 picks for him is trading away 2 picks for nothing. That's what it is. If he ain't gonna resign, you only got him for the rest of the season. We're probably not winning the championship even if we do that. So it's like, and then what, do we bring them to a better situation? I don't know that. The way the Nets are playing, I don't know that. I don't know that. Maybe it's a little better. Depends on how well AD and Bron stay healthy. What exactly are we talking about right now? AD not being healthy? There you go. So as far as I'm concerned, if I'm Kyrie Irving, my whole entire focus is shifted. The Lakers are kind of like, I'll see y'all in the offseason if you get your stuff together. If not, good luck. That's kind of how I feel about them if I'm Kai, because my value's right back where I need it to be, and somebody needs to pay me some real money, not I made everybody upset and I'm canceled money. No, that's not. He's playing all-star ball right now, and so and the team is doing a lot of winning. But it's one of those situations where it's like it's just about when are we looking at what we're looking at. If this was 3 weeks, for a month ago, we could have got Kyrie Irving for a lot less, but nobody wanted to trade for him because he was too hot. The situation was crazy. And now, and we didn't want to give up AD because AD was balling. You fast forward, and what are we looking at now? Same players, opposite situations. 2 months from now, it might be something different again. So it's like, when you're trying to assess what you're looking at, it's hard to tell. But one thing's for certain. If you stay put and do nothing, you can be certain this unit is not going to be able to make it through the season. And the core is going to get hurt. AD is going to stay hurt, and Bron's probably going to face an injury as well. And so that's the thing. It's like the rest of the season is about him chasing Kareem, basically. And you're not even going to allow him a guarantee that he can do that if you're leaning too much on him. You know what I'm saying? So I just think this whole thing is misguided to no end. And if we can just make it to the end of the season, it should be like having held your breath underwater and finally getting that final gasp, getting that air right before you pass out. That's what that's gonna be like for us if we make it to the end of the season with our 2 picks and with Anthony Davis and LeBron James not out for the season. That's God's honest truth, and that's why I don't like living like this. As a fan, it's like, why would you even want your situation like this? You just begging the basketball gods to keep people healthy. What? You think good teams are really going through that? You honestly think that's what they're dealing with? It's not. It's not. They hope everybody stays healthy, but their future isn't dependent on it. So I'm just looking at the Los Angeles Lakers and I'm saying this is crap, you guys, as we know. I got all the bad words in the world to throw at you guys about this situation, but at the end of the day, it's just going to continue to be something we can complain about, continue to let the media berate our players and make fun of them about. And I'm just glad that the media is focusing on the front office. They need to. Everybody needs to. Everybody needs to be focusing on Jeanie Buss, because she's the person that got people in place, that's got this thing in the ground. She's the person that has people in place believing in something that coerces the team into being in the ground, which is Anthony Davis and LeBron James as a core. As a core. When you don't have any assets at all, when you keep doing dumb stuff with the rest of everything else, that's key to it. You put AD and Bron in a situation like Washington right now, based on the fact that they have all of their assets, everything that the Lakers would love to do for AD and Bron, they can do right now. That's the crazy thing about all of this. That's what those two are missing. It's not that they can't play with one another. It's that they can't play with one another with the crap that the Lakers got trying to build around them, with the assets that the Lakers don't have, based on the fact that they keep mismanaging their assets while the rest of the teams keep doing it right. And that is all there is to it. That's the main game. Other people have done things exceptionally well while the Lakers have made mistakes. Like errors. Not even just like, and that's another thing, real life errors, yo. Like not signing people to 3-year contracts, instead signing them to 2, stuff like that. It's like, should not people be fired for making these mistakes? My mind is blown by what I'm seeing there. That's all, man. My mind is just blown. But I believe in excellence. That's why I became a fan of this team, because I saw the banners, I saw great players on the floor, and I saw an inspiration within that that stuck with me. That's what I would want to inspire others to become Laker fans in regards to. It's because of that energy, the togetherness, the family, some of the stuff that we've seen, even though the organization has done some things we haven't agreed with, treated some people in some ways we don't agree with. The majority of the time, it's been a togetherness, and it's something that players can live and enjoy having an identity a part of, being a part of as the Lakers. But right now, I think we're in the worst place we've been in since Jim Buss was here, and I think it's a little worse. It's a little worse because LeBron James is here, and everybody is like really looking at you as it pertains to you getting things right for him. And I just don't think it would be that difficult for all 29 teams to have done this over the last 5 years. I don't think so. I don't think this is the easiest thing to do. But if you let each and every one of the teams do it, I think you would have seen it done better a lot of the time. That's what I really think, man. And that's why I think this regime needs to just go ahead and move on from who's in place. It's a lot of haters and trolls telling Jeanie to sell the team. But the things that are contingent upon smart fans and intelligent people having support for her keeping the team, those things are in the balance right now, in my humble opinion. Decision making, how much you'll be able to support the Lakers in regards to what they'll need going forward. Can you keep this thing going? And Jeanie is showing us signs that maybe she's not up for the challenge. And when I start thinking about the type of money that's floating around, did you see how much money Cristiano Ronaldo got today from Saudi Arabia? They threw $289 million at that man to kick a soccer ball around, y'all. There's real money out there. Like, there are guys out there who are cutting crazy checks who can take this franchise to with their pockets. And Jeanie's going to have to compete with that in a real way, man. It's just the reality of our circumstances. So if she's going to cut corners or not be able to do what she needs to do to keep the right people in place to make this thing sharp, and it don't take oil money to do that. You just got to you have to desire to pay the right people and desire to listen to the right people. And that desire is what is really in the balance in regards to my belief that she should be running things. Because if she don't want to listen to the right people, if she wants to continue to listen to these people, and we're going to continue to get these results. And that's ultimately what we're fighting against, is these results. It's not about personalities. It's not about whether or not we like people. None of that. We just got to correct the losing by the best means necessary. And that's what comes to mind. If that's resetting the whole thing and starting over with Trae Young and getting us a bunch of young players that can run with him, let's give it a shot. If it's moving forward with LeBron James and trading Anthony Davis, do that. If it's trading everything and bringing back nothing but picks and starting us on a long process of resetting our situation, do that. But what I don't want you to do is continue to sell us nonsense and continue to bring us things that are going to further dig us into a hole and not make us quite good enough, or coerce us into a cap situation that squeezes us into 3 players or 2 players, and as a result has us playing with a bunch of players we don't want anymore after getting them there, just like we got with these guys here. Being greedy with your superstars puts you in this situation. So, can you dwindle us down to like 1 or 2, and let's do the draft thing and see if we can get lucky. See if we can not even get lucky. See if we can continue to empower the scouts that have already been so wildly successful in the second round to maybe have some success in the first rounds as well. Then you'll have enough value to make everything that you want to have happen take place. That's what BDF 44 has to say at this moment. I appreciate all of you guys. Enjoy the game. It's going to be starting in about 30 minutes against the Hawks. And hopefully we can beat the team. I mean, I don't really have much more than I've already said in the previous video leading up to that game. So I encourage everybody to check that out. And yeah, that's what I got to say, man. If anything else comes to mind, I will get you guys back with that. But for now, happy B-Day, King James, and hopefully we can get a win in Atlanta. Celebrate. Video 44. Thank you all for watching.